Welcome to Off Days. I'm John Holland, and today is a very special day. We have a very special guest. We have the owner of Hapoel Tel Aviv, Ofer Yannay. Ofer, thank you. Thank you so much for coming and doing this. I really appreciate it.
Thank you very much. I'm happy to be here, and actually, I was quite curious.
Yeah. When it comes to ownership, it's very rare that you can have a situation where you can sit down and just talk with the owner of the team, and I appreciate the time. Also, when it comes to ownership, the main thing about it is, the money.
How do you make your money?
How you make your money? That's the question that everybody wants to know. Not even just how you make your money, who you are.
Right.
So
I just want to say one comment. 2 weeks ago, I think it was, I was in New York and I met a guy named Matteo in the NBA Players Organization. And we had all kinds of discussion about the NBA because the NBA is kind of a gold standard of how do you run basketball teams. And I told him that about the financial course that I gave him. He said, yeah, this started in the NBA a few years ago. And we encourage them to talk to the owners because the owners are usually good businessmen, so they can learn from the. So in the NBA, they start to break the ice.
Yeah,
so it's good that we started to break the ice.
I actually know Matteo.
Oh, you know him?
Good guy.
Yeah,
NBA, right?
Yeah.
This financial classes is something that I know I never experienced when I was ever playing, besides like in the NBA, but overseas, it was something that was a surprise.
A good one.
But back to when the ownership and how you made your money.
All right.
And the reason behind the ownership is obviously the money. You could do this. You've reached a point in your life and your success where you are able to own a team. So how did that come about?
So I was born in a small city called Yavne. Yavne is in the peripheral part of Israel. And when we grew up, we were 8 kids. And we were actually quite a poor family. But my parents, they made sure that we will not know that we are poor. One crazy story that will demonstrate this, when I was 20, it was the first time that I understood that I never had new clothes as a kid. I was getting like new clothes. Okay, I have these are my new clothes. For sure, for me, it went to my brothers that were like younger than me. So I finished to use the clothes, they started to use it. But I thought I was getting new clothes. Apparently, I had no new clothes because it was my cousin that was like 2 years older than me. Yeah. So all of the new clothes that I thought, there was never new clothes. So starting point is you're not supposed to make money when you start. But I think it's all about my parents because they decided that we will not know that we are poor, and they invested all of what they had to give us a proper education. A good education, to be able to learn in the best education there is. They paid, I know the numbers now, I'm a numbers guy, so I know the numbers, I figured it out. They put me in high school, it was like, I'm 49 now, so it was like 34 years ago. They paid 1,600 shekels a month. It's huge 34 years ago in Israel, and then the salary wasn't big. So, and we were 8, so they really invest, I think, all of the free cash flow they had in education. And for them, this was their life mission. And it was for one thing, to give us a chance. Yeah. And we'll get back to the ownership later, but for me, this is the most holy thing there is. To give someone a chance, to give a team a chance to win, a chance to compete. Getting a chance is one thing, you need to do something with it. My best, most important advantage was that I was smart. Yeah. I knew how to learn fast, quick, understand, think creatively. So I started learning math, physics, computer science. This is my first degree. Right after that, I said, okay, spent some years in high tech, and then I said, I think I'm going to open my startup, and this was what today you know as Wolt. You use Wolt, probably, right? You live in Tel Aviv. So.
Oh, really? That's you?
No, I started this under a different name in the year 2000 with a different type of technology, because then there was like no mobile phone, you had to use fax machine. And the most creative thing was, how do you send the restaurant information, not in today's world, but in 24 years ago.
that-
So I just, in every restaurant you have like the point of sale when they use for the credit card. So I wrote a software for that, and then got the information got through this. And this was my first business. I closed it after 3 years. I thought it's not going to be something big, and I thought that I need to have some fundamentals. I went and learned my MBA. It was in Ben Gurion University in English. It was a very interesting year because we were just learning. So I said, okay, I need to do something else. So I was like also practicing. I over 100 right now in kilograms. I was like 80 because I was like 3 hours every day in the gym. It was a fabulous year. And in that year, I learned about renewable energy. And I thought, wow, renewable energy, this is something that if it works, it can change the world. It can be something big. And I said I want to move into that field. And I stepped into this field, and it was quite an adventurous ride, but I made it.
Like renewable energy it's a very noble thing, but they do say nobody with a lot of money, when they talk billions, hundreds of millions, there's no like good people that could be at that level. This is just something that it takes, like, to make that money. You got to be a killer. You know what I mean? You got to have some of that dog, like, to be a killer. Did you find in your success in renewable energy that you had to, I don't want to say like.
You ask me if I was cruel.
You know what I mean? Like, you had to,
Yeah,
if you're successful in something, in some ways you have to, especially in this capitalistic society, you have to step on somebody.
So I've always been a good guy, but I was a sophisticated good guy. And I've always had bad guys coming after me. But I could read them, and I could manage them. You have to understand, when I started my company in 2012, single person company, there's like 100 companies in Israel in that field. They have finance, they have lawyers, they have consultants. I have just me. I had this idea, which I understood better than the rest of the group. I started with the creativity, working with the kibbutzim. Then after 2 or 3 years, they started to copycat me. And then it was quite interesting because I'm a nice and a good guy, right?
Yeah.
But they picture me like a villain, like a super villain, not like a villain, like a super villain. So but I found it quite interesting. So because I understood that whenever I come to a new kibbutz, they already had all of those horrible stories about me, that I'm that and that and that.
Had an image in your head.
Yeah, so I was like not famous, I was notorious. So I entered the meeting, they start with this, all of this is suspicious, being extremely feeling unsafe with you and everything. And then I start the conversation, and after an hour and a half, everything changes. Are you familiar with Ofer Yannay? He's a basketball player. You ever? In 2004, he was the Israeli of the season.
Okay.
Like, who won Israelis of the season this year? Who won?
Was it Sorkin? Or
Yeah, Sorkin. Sorkin's like, okay, Sorkin's
maybe. I don't know.
Maybe.
I think so.
So he was like Israeli of the season, and he used to train me. He was my basketball trainer, and he told me, listen, I want to.
You used to hoop?
What?
You used to play?
Nah, no. I stopped when I was 42. All of my friends started to get injured.
Oh, yeah. All right.
So, but he told me, listen, I want to come to one of the meetings in the kibbutzim. And I said, oh, come with me. And he came to the kibbutz, and after that, he recorded this meeting, and he told me, listen, do you know what happened? I said, what? It was a regular meeting for me. He said, I want you to hear it. It started like this. Listen, we are not interested. We had some very bad things about you. We actually thought that it's not, we don't want to have this meeting, and we wanted to cancel, but you drove 2 hours to beer, so we are willing to listen to you for 10 minutes. This is how they start. I just enter the room, say hi, shook hands. This is how they start. An hour and a half later is, where do we sign?
Yeah.
5 million shekels project. Where do we sign?
Yeah.
Like that. So I said, do you understand that this transformation doesn't happen easy? So, well, this is what I do for a living.
Yeah.
I go into meeting rooms, they hate me, and then they love me. So this is my this is my job.
Do you think it's like that with basketball?
Basketball is a very interesting world.
No. Okay. So why basketball? Why did you get into basketball? Why own a team? I mean, you grew up in. Did you grow up rooting for any particular team?
Well, I was like a Kobe guy, and then
Kobe.
it was like a LeBron fan. This guy, I loved him, but I never like really got connected to him. I love to play. I play. I think it's
What
beautiful.
about teams in Israel?
No.
No, not really.
Maccabi, I used to root for Maccabi when they're playing abroad, but this is something, as a kid in Yavne, you had like one channel, this is what you see.
Yeah.
But I was never a Maccabi fan. I had some seats, some good seats, but I was never a Maccabi fan.
You got the money, you got to get the seats. What made you want to own a team, and what made you want to own Hapoel as a?
This is an interesting story.
Yeah.
Well, I started with basketball. I was in Givat Shmuel. Givat Shmuel, they have like the synagogue league.
Yeah.
Ever been to a synagogue, John?
I have not. Yeah.
Well, you're not supposed to.
Yeah.
So the synagogue league is like guys, regular guys, and they play. They have the team. They're very passionate, and they're all very sad. One Saturday night, I see them. They're all very sad. So what's the problem? So there's not going to be any league this year. So why not? He said, well, the supermarket was the sponsor. The supermarket, he said, is not going to give the sponsorship anymore. I said, okay, how much money is it? I thought it's like, I don't know, 100,000, 15,000 shekels. So it's not a lot of money. I have my company, it's still like small company, it can give you 15,000 shekels. And I became the sponsor of that league. And then you kind of start to understand how the league works. And in 2020, which was the year of COVID, Amit Gal from Galil, he entered my office and he told me, listen, in the Galil everybody are sad. I want you to make the kids of the Galil happy.
Yeah.
Give us some support. How much do you need? So 120,000 shekels. I said, okay, let's go.
Yeah.
And then Eisenstadt, that was the name of the guy. He made 2 out of 2 from the line, and they went to the major league.
Oh.
So
So that was your first
first encounter.
first encounter with
Yeah.
ownership.
I was sponsored.
Well, sponsorship.
And by the way, I was still sponsor of Galil till this season because I shook hand on 3 years deal,
Yeah.
and this is what.
All right. Yeah.
So I was a sponsor, and being a sponsor in the major league, you start to realize that something that is very wrong with the whole basketball scene in Israel. The thing with Maccabi that really changed the refs are kind of in favor of them. They have a lot of money. You can't really compete them in equal terms. So I said, I want to change I want to change it.
Yeah.
How can I do it? The only way to change it is with a big team that has a big fan base. And Hapoel was a natural choice. But what I thought of Hapoel and what I know of Hapoel today, completely.
So what did you think of Hapoel?
I thought it's a nice team.
Yeah.
They have some nice fans. I knew that Nadav and Shachar that works with me are fans, and they can help me with entering this and managing this. I had no idea what's an amazing community and how big is the fan base of Hapoel.
So when you think about the fans and Hapoel, the fans are like the life of Hapoel. And this is a question I wanted to ask, because how difficult is it when you have a fan base that had ownership of the team, has ownership of the team, and you now come in as the owner, and you have to deal with fans that still believe that they own the team, and they do in many ways. So how, as an owner, do you deal with that and not feel like you're, I guess, being controlled by the fans? And you're running, and you want to run a business, and you want to run the best for the team and make the right decisions for the team.
I think this was one of the things that a lot of people warned me against. They said, well, you know, they're friends, they are cruel, they are ruthless, they will eat you alive. They will never accept you as the decision maker. They will never let you take decision there. I said, okay, I want to try. I think that they voted, and the vote went very well. It was 87% for, 11% against, and 2%.
This is one thing about fans. I know about fans. You know, being a player. You know, when you're doing great, fans love you. When you're doing great, fuck you. You know, that's how it is with fans.
It is.
And especially passionate, the kind of passionate fans that we have. And I know that this year we've had so many
Crazy events.
Yeah. That surrounded things with the fans, and you know, I want to touch on, you know, a couple of them. The first one, preseason, the preseason cup.
The game that you didn't play.
The game that we didn't play. The game that we didn't play. It got canceled.
I canceled it.
Yeah, you canceled it, and I think that was like a big
move.
Big move for you.
Yeah, it was. 4 days earlier than that, I was a guest of David Mintzberg in the soccer match. And what happened out there with the police was crazy. Kind of the same events we had like a few days ago. And after 4 days later, there's this match. I'm not in Israel. I'm in London. I have some meetings in London. And Rami is also not in Israel. But then Rami calls me and says, listen, there's a problem. So what's the problem? They're starting to ask for IDs. So police can ask for IDs. It's okay. But they can't do it like if it was not announced. Because you have like 4,000 people waiting in line. You have families, a father with his kids. He doesn't have the IDs, right? So I remembered what happened 4 days earlier than that. And I said, oh, now it's me, right? It's my responsibility. It's my team. If ever everything's happened. And what is the thing that I will not accept? I will not accept a risk to someone's life. And remembering how hard it was 4 days ago, I said, Rami, how much will it cost us not to no-show? He told me 500,000 shekel. And maybe they'll sue us. I said, okay, so let them know we're not playing. So can you guess what was his response?
What?
He said, okay, but when do you want to play? He thought I was bluffing, but I didn't have time. I need to go to the meeting. I said, no, I'm not bluffing. That's it. We're not playing. He said that, and I'm getting a call from Ari from the league. He said, what are you doing? I have contracts with the TV. I said, Ari, if I wouldn't do this, then we could have had casualty. I'm saving you, league. I'm saving you right now. You want to fine me? Fine me. That's it. So this was the first decision. But this was September 28th, and 10 days later, the world changed, right?
Like, and that was another factor that came in. So when the war happened and everything kind of changed, and for you, it probably means that you have to spend probably more money, or a lot more money than you at first anticipated. Was there any, like, how did you feel? Was there pressure? Was there, I mean, you had to have pressure from the fans, from the people, from the country
the shock was so big. It's not that the team was my first thought. My first thought was about my friends that live there. The fan base of Hapoel, they lost, I think, 53 casualties in that day. I was walking with those kibbutzim, so I lost quite a good number of friends that day. And then the first week, because it was such a crazy attack, all of the military tried to go into Gaza, but they were not prepared. And all of the Gaza envelope guys, they were sent to hotels, but no one was ready for that. So there was a lot of opportunities to help as a philanthropist. And I spent a good number of millions that week, just giving money to or buying stuff. And then I understood that we need to do things with the team. Rami, of course, was the one that was leading that. He took you to Venice. You played in Venice. I'm sure it was an very emotional game. The first game after the attack. And then I'm coming to London. And I said, I'm coming to London. I want to put something and I put the shirt for them with all of the faces. And it made me realize, the responses made me realize that the team can be a platform that can reach back to the community of the fans and help them. And for me, John, this is one of the most important things I've done in my life. This year was such a crazy year. I think our own humanity was tested in that year, and I'm really happy to have been in the leadership position and that I could do what I do.
Yeah, definitely. And the fan, I mean, obviously you gave examples of fans like, you know, being the victims, but sometimes the fans are the cost of a lot of money. And, you know, obviously.
Talking about the ultras.
Yeah, the ultras, they sometimes they cost you a lot of money. So what is your thoughts when you feel like fans, it could get out of control?
Yeah, I think the ultras are like dating a crazy woman, right? It's interesting. But you can get it like when she becomes too crazy, then it's. This is like my analogy is what when I think of them. My relationship with them was developed during this year. They were against me. They said we do not want to give Hapoel to this guy. The first time Matan Kaplan asked me, you know, the singing the songs. I said, I don't care. There's a freedom of speech. They want to do it, they want to do it. I'm not the owner of the fans, I'm owner of the team. And he said, do you have red lines? I said, yeah, I have some red lines. I said, what is a red line? And a few years ago in the soccer team, the Maccabi had a goalkeeper. His name was Obarov, I think. I'm not good in soccer. We'll get to that later, maybe. And his wife had a miscarriage, and they threw a baby doll. So I said, the guy that did, this was a famous story, even guys like me knew it. So this story, the guy that threw that baby doll to him, he will never see the court again. Yeah. If I was the owner of the soccer team, never. I don't care. He can come to my house. I don't care. Yeah. You were so cruel. This is something that I cannot accept. And my red lines.
For those of you who don't know, the ultras are like the gang, I guess you could say, or like you know, the fans. But they're like the hooligans a little bit. And
I don't think that they are hooligans, but some of them behave in that way. They behaved, actually. We had this story with Hapoel Haifa, but we'll get to that in a minute. But they're very colorful, they're very passionate, and they're very loyal to the team, and it's important. So the first collision was in the games against Beersheba. There was a ceremony for the police, and they started to sing their songs against the police when the widow and the kids and the orphans are standing there. This was something that really, I said, this cannot be. I said, these guys, you want to go back, you go and apologize to the widow and the kids, and then I'll let you in. Now you're not going in. And I think it was the first time that someone stood against these guys, because all of Hapoel fans, they don't like a lot of the things that they do, but they don't face them. Yeah. And they told me, they warned me, listen, if you face them, they'll come to your house, they'll break your car, everything. I said, okay, but you need to act of what you think is the right thing to do. And we decided that. They didn't come to my car. Yeah. They went and they apologized because they understood they did something wrong. And then the other event that happened with them was after Hapoel Haifa, that you managed to lose this game. I don't know how. But they also managed to get into a fight. They scheduled this fight earlier, but the guy ran back to the arena, and then you have this live video of 5 guys hitting one guy. I said, this is something that is it's disgusting.
If you haven't seen it, you could probably look it up.
It's disgusting.
They hit him with the drum.
Yeah. So I took a stand there, and I think for them it was good to have someone like me. So
at what point did you feel like the fans have accepted you? Because I know I seen you in the finals up in the stands, up in the stands, you know, with them.
Crazy event.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's a working process. I don't know if they accept me.
Yeah,
I
true.
don't know.
True. All right. That's not the only issues we had this year. X, you know, what do you? Xavier. He had his issue with the cannabis, the weed. What as an owner goes to your head when a player gets in trouble and like this?
Some people, their immediate instinct is, okay, I'll fire him. I'm going to be very angry with him. My immediate instinct was to protect him.
Yeah.
And I thought that what was done to him was unfair. He faced something that could end his career, like 4 years. And I thought, this is crazy. I smoked weed, right? Everybody smokes weed. It's not a big deal. And it doesn't enhance performance. NBA, they don't test you for that, right? So I thought, this is crazy. And I really appreciated that year because you could all have left us, right? After October 7, you were staying there in Belgrade. I don't know, you liked it in Belgrade?
I mean, I spent a year in Belgrade
okay.
last year, so I was at
You're
home
okay.
in Belgrade.
You're
you know, that's like I was at Red Star, and you know.
So for me, I said, wow, this is something that these guys, they stick with you, even though they're not in a regular situation and they didn't leave the team. You owe them something, and I wanted to protect him. I knew there were like 3 guys that were caught. One of them was a girl, and she was like a union girl. So I said to the union, you know, you better take ownership on that and not give it to WADA, the official, and they took ownership on that. And then when it was extern, I said, listen, guys, they tested him after 5 weeks. It stays in your blood for 6 weeks. And it was like 5 weeks after we left, after the league was announced.
Yeah.
And so basically they messed up with their own regulation, and he should be able to go back right immediately tomorrow. But because I'm nice, I'm willing to take another 9 days, because it was like the 21st day. I'm going to take another 9 days, 30 days, that's it, and I want him to be ready for the game against Besiktas. After that, the WADA guy said, no, I'm not accepting that. I'm going abroad now. I'll be back in 2 weeks, and then maybe I'll trial him. Maybe I'll wait another month. So he been very aggressive. I told him, listen, Naftali, I know this sport world that you all live in it's a very peculiar world, but I'm from business. You can do whatever you want, man, but let me just explain the consequences. 400,000, 800, You're gonna, if you go abroad, I'll probably sue you for 1.6 million shekels when you come back.
Yeah.
So, okay, so tell Chaim to call me.
I like that.
And that was it.
I like that. So then Besiktas comes, the Besiktas game. And as an owner and as just players, you know, we invested so much into the season.
I want to ask you, how was it to be in the second half and see it like melting away?
It's kind of surreal, you know. It's a snowball kind of effect, and then you want to do everything that you can personally to try and help, and it's like it's a tough situation. But as an owner,
listen, I brought 31 people from my family to that trip. Yeah. They came with the fans. We were having a ball, right? First half, 18 points. Second half starts, 21 points. Wow, we're going. We're there. We're having it. And then Jacob, an injury. And I went all the way to see what happened to him. And my sister, my older sister, she told me, you know, when you came back, you look troubled. And I've seen you in so many situations. You never look troubled. You always calm. What happened? I said, well, I knew that you finished.
Yeah.
And it really hurt me because you care. I care for the people that I spend time with, I work with, and I cared for Jacob, and he was such a great player, such a great leader. Yeah. And from that peak, you're just going through the finals and everything, and it was terrible.
Yeah. And that's big, cause because personally, management and me, it's not that I don't care for management, it's that I know it's a business.
Yeah.
And in this business, it's like you could be friendly, kind of, but like I don't even want to be friendly with the management. I like the players. I like I don't even like not that I don't like coach, you know what I'm saying? But I don't like getting too friendly with like people who, obviously I understand it's a business and I don't want to get too attached. Personally, this is how I approach it. Not every player is like, some players are really close with, like the management and stuff. But me, I like to stay away from that, from my own, like, and so when I have that approach, it's very rare that, you have someone in management, that you can open up to and like maybe talk to, because it's just the nature of the relationship is very kind of on the same team, but don't fuck up, it's kind of like, like whatever, you gotta perform. And it was nice this year to, feel that the ownership cared in a way that I don't think I've ever really experienced before in Europe, at least. We giving the financial classes, doing different things to care about the players off the court. And I think that was a big reason, at least for me, why I wanted to always stick it through and like continue to fight and play for Hapoel. And I think obviously that's a great thing that you did. What gave you what made you do that? What made you?
I'm a people person, right? For me, the world of basketball is new, but experiencing like the first games, I said, hey, there's something that is kind of troubles me. And what troubled me was the fact that when you play, you're like superheroes, right? Yeah. Everybody's cheering for you, and the adrenaline, and of course the physicality. You're not like normal people. You're like superheroes. But then I said, hey, these are also very young men. So, and they get a lot of money now, but they don't really learn. And so then all of this money, if they spend it and they can consume it, and what will they do when they'll be like 40? And I felt like troubled by it. I said I need to take an initiative, and I hope you enjoyed the course. It was nice.
No, I enjoyed the course. Listen. I was talking to my man, Robbie, obviously on the team. He's like, we should have a sports psychologist next year.
I was talking to a guy.
Yeah.
His name is what was his name? I'll figure it out later. But he was like the sports psychologist of Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
So this is the guy I wanted to bring to you. Ooh. But I just brought the DAZE and I said I don't want to make you crazy. And
speaking of, perfect segue into that. Firing Danny.
Difficult moment. I invited him for the third game in the finals.
Yeah?
Yeah. I asked him, I told him, Danny, listen, we might do history. Yeah. And if we do it, you are a part of this history. Would you like to come and sit next to me? He was really moved and told me, let me think about it. And after 2 days, he wrote me, I don't want to because it's going to be too emotional for me.
Yeah, that's tough. But as the owner, what goes into making that decision?
Leadership, and I think basically life, but leadership is about taking uncomfortable decisions. And with Danny, this was the situation. I liked him as a person. I kind of even loved him, and I appreciate him as a professional. But for me, the ultimate question was, do I feel confident that he can lead us forward and we can have a chance of winning the championship with him. And I had my doubts after Besiktas, and then they lost to Jerusalem in the quarterfinal. I said, okay, I don't have the trust that I need to have in him, so we need to end this, and I need to find some other options. But then the Iranian attacked, and it became more.
What was that? What was that process like after you fire your coach?
First, the first thing, we have a conversation. I said, Danny, it's over. We're gonna, and it's a difficult conversation. He said, thank you very much. I love Hapoel. I love it's been my best years has been here. I said, I know, yeah, and I really appreciate what you gave, but you know that. And that night I couldn't fall asleep because I felt for him, right? After that, you need to find the coach. You start interviewing coaches. It's not advised to fire your coach in the middle of the season because
more than in the middle. It's really
not a lot of available coaches. We started to talk, and then it kind of hit me, the phenomenon of how the war affects, like. And I told Rami, okay, Rami, I understood it. The Spanish guys, they don't come. The Italian guys, they tell you they come, and then the wives tell them that they don't come. So maybe try some Greek guys. And this is how we got to. Dedas was the first one we interviewed. He made quite a good impression. What bothered me was the fact that there was some kind of a voice message that started to run in fans group that is saying that they're not going to do that. They're not going to be successful. So, I don't want a coach that would. I want a coach that will talk on court. This is what I want to focus. And when I decided that I'm going with him, I called him. I told him, Coach, congratulations, Mr. Dedas. I hope we're going to make history together. And I just want you to know that if it wasn't for that voicemail, I would have hired you 10 days ago. Because it took me a bit of the time to arrange my concerns. What do you think of him as a coach?
I like him. I think he's exactly what we needed, given the situation that we were in.
The chaotic situation.
Yeah. I think he was a perfect injection of life into what we have.
One thing for him, he had so many excuses he could use. This guy do danger. He didn't use it. No matter what was the problem, so okay.
Yeah.
I'll find a way.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about firing coaches, but as an owner, what are you? And I'm a player. You didn't get rid of really anybody this year, but that's part of a job too. What do you feel about that part of the job? As a player, I want to know, like, how is it?
I think we were trying to part ways with DAZE after Besiktas. Because there was some issues with the way he behaved in Besiktas. So he was under contract, but told him, listen.
Yeah.
And then he said, no, I want to stay. But then the Iranian attack, and he fled.
Yeah.
And Will was kind of a disappointment. I thought that I wrote him, I approved your leave, but I held you for a different standard. I was kind of disappointed, but I think it was like more personal for him because he had like a young kid and everything, and he felt that maybe he cannot do the job in a great way.
This is not an easy situation to perform, and I understand.
You were there.
I've lived through it. I understand that this is not like the easiest situation to perform in, especially when you don't understand what you're going into.
Yeah.
You weren't expecting it to be like this. So yeah, I get it, because I was close myself.
I know.
Yeah.
We talked about it.
So I understand. But what do you feel, what's going to be the situation next year?
It's very difficult to know, but I think that the big game here is that we are trying to become closer with Saudi Arabia, and the Iranian, the bitter enemies of Saudi Arabia, Iranian, Qatar, and they tried to stop this. And the attack was in order to stop this. The elections in the US are in November.
Yeah.
So I think, if you ask me, my best guess is that we will not have games here till the end of 2024, but we will have by 2025. Okay. This is my best guess.
Okay. Who knows? Yeah, it's hard to tell. So like now the challenge becomes, getting players over here doing this, and so you hire George.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Inas.
Yeah, Hinas.
You know him?
hired
You know him from,
I don't know him. I still don't know him. I maybe said 5 words to him, but you hire him, and what do you think he brings?
Well,
to the
why
team?
did I hire him?
By the way, he's the new kind of
Sport
GM.
director.
Yeah.
Sport director.
Sport director. Yeah, he's a
I wish
sport
he could
director.
be the GM. Maybe I'll make him.
I don't know the term, but the person who
GM also takes care of the business.
Yeah,
Sport
yeah,
director
yeah,
only
sport.
takes care of sport.
But
We were trying desperately to bring a new point guard. And this was one of the most difficult things I had to face because nobody wanted to come. And Cassius Winston said, I'm coming, but then his wife said no. Other candidates, and you just get in no. So what's the problem? So what do you want? It's the war. They don't want to come. It's the war. And then I called Zil. You know Zil? Zilberman. He works with Mishko. He's a top agent. Yeah, Avi.
Avi.
I called him. I told him, listen, Avi, I've been doing this for the last 3 weeks. I'm calling everybody. I'm getting refuse after refuse. For me, this is not about sport. It's about Zionism. This is because of the Iranian attack. Put yourself to work. Get me a point guard. He said, okay, I hear you. And he brought Tyler.
Yeah.
But for me, though,
that ended up being a great fit.
it's a great fit.
Great fit.
But for me, those 3 weeks that I was like,
Yeah.
being so frustrated, I said, no, I want a sport director. I don't want to do this again.
Yeah, it's stressful. But you can have that. You can have that same problem. Next year getting players. What do you say to players when they do have these reservations about coming to Israel?
I tell them something that is very, very simple. For me, the players, they're like family. This is the way I treat them. If the situation here is going to be rough, I'll move them to Europe. I'll take care of them. I'm not going to throw them or to put them in danger. I have to tell you something funny, right?
Yeah.
So when it just started, I think it was with the Iranian attack, I think it was like Saturday night, right? Saturday night. So in Friday, Danny is writing in the WhatsApp group, listen, the players, they are very afraid. They feared what's going to happen. And then Rami is sending him a picture of you and Dusty, one of the bars of Tel Aviv. Said, they don't look afraid. They don't look
Because
afraid.
it's honestly such a weird dynamic because you have all of this thing going on here. Like, you have everybody saying, World War III might start. Anything can happen.
Come on.
But if you're actually in the country,
yeah.
you don't feel it.
You don't feel it.
But you have the pressure from your family. You have the pressure from everybody else that isn't quite here. And it's a real threat. I mean, at that time, Iran was really shooting missiles.
Yeah.
Iran
They
was
don't have
shooting-
really good missiles, though.
But you could downplay it, but as an American, as a foreigner, it's like a.
Actually, I think what happened with the Iranians was quite impressive. They launched a similar attack, but like 10% of the size against Saudi Arabia, their bitter enemy, and they crippled the oil supply of Saudi Arabia by 50%.
Yeah.
The Saudis didn't have the technology. We had the technology because we have like all of these enemies all the time, so we developed the technology, and it was flawless. Like they couldn't penetrate the technology.
But
was
it's
wonderful.
it's hard to explain to your family, like when I know you see the bombs hitting, but it's really normal. Like people are.
You get used to it, right?
Yeah. It's
Missiles
hard to
intercepting
explain.
other missiles.
Yeah.
You get used to it.
What else? I want to end with what does Ofer Yannay do on an off day? This is off days. What do you do on an off day, or do you even have off days?
Exactly. I think I know you always start with this question.
Yeah,
So I was waiting you for.
Yeah, I
asking
was
me.
gonna start with it, but I figured I'll end with it. What do you do?
So basically, I don't know why, but we started like midnight, right? This is when we started this session.
Yeah.
It's not because I just didn't have any other time, and from here I'm going to the airport and I'm flying in 4 hours. I don't know how it got to this, but in the last few years, I don't really have off days. I just kind of work constantly, and I kind of fix things. And what I do like to do is read. But to read, I used to read like fiction, but today like I'm reading books that kind of expand my
Do you think
understanding.
that kind of sacrifice of not having off days, does it take away from other parts of your life? I mean, because you are, successful, money, all this.
Yeah.
What did you have to sacrifice for this?
I don't think I sacrificed. I think it's kind of being disciplined. If you are like me, like building yourself from nothing to, it comes with discipline, like an athlete, right? You need to have this discipline, and being creative, thinking forward, setting the goal, achieving it, setting the new goal. I have my daughter. So my wife passed away 6 years ago. So I grew her by myself, and I told one of my friends, I told Nadav, I said, what is a perfect family vacation for me? He said, what? I said, well, if I go to a family vacation, I take my family, my parents, my brothers, my sister, and my daughter. I said, well, very simple. My family is happy, my daughter is happy, and I can walk. This is the perfect vacation for me. So
I always see you with this book. What do you write down in the book, man?
This one,
Yeah.
the notebook, the red notebook.
The notebook.
So it's just some comments about the game, because it's for me, and it was actually to remind myself that I don't understand. I come to a new field, I understand nothing. It's really important to remind yourself, especially if you are a smart person, because smart person kind of think that they understand everything. It's really important to remind yourself you don't understand.
Yeah.
So for me, this
How
was...
involved are you in actual basketball decisions? Because, you're not like a basketball guy. Like,
Yeah.
how involved are you in the actual basketball decisions?
Well, kind of with Danny, it was like after every game, Danny, I have some questions, he gave me the answer. With DAZE, it was more than, it's kind of more open to discuss. I brought in Itudis. You've seen this guy.
I saw you.
It was a great move, because bringing Itudis, what we needed against Maccabi is something that will balance, right, the perspective of the referees. And well, Maccabi, they can promote us as a EuroLeague referee. Hapoel, well, Euro Cup maybe, but then you bring in Itudis, one of the most influenced guy in the EuroLeague, and he sits with the owner of Hapoel.
Yeah.
You got a good referee in that game, I
It's a little
think.
balance, because
You got some balance.
people are used to Maccabi, but I feel like Hapoel's future is bright. What's your vision?
Hapoel is the future. People don't understand, but there's going to be major changes in European basketball. Current situation where European basketball, EuroLeague, is not being run as a business. It's being run like sports fans, right? I took the management of Hapoel to the Berlin Final Four weekend. So I called the EuroLeague. I said, guys, I'm going to give you €100,000 sponsorship. I said, oh, okay, thank you very much. What do you want? I said, do you want publicity? I said, no, I don't. What do you want? Get me some good seats, and I want to meet the owners of the teams in the EuroLeague. No problem. All right. So I'm trying to start the meeting. So the Greek teams, the Olympiacos, Panathinaikos, they don't care. They meet me in the Hilton, where all the teams are. You get to the other teams, they don't want to come to the Hilton. So I'll meet you in your hotel. I said, okay. So me and Rami, we're having like secret meetings in the hotel. I tell Rami, listen, this is like having an affair, but it's not with a 25-year-old girl, it's like with an 80-year-old Italian sport director. Very weird. What's the problem? We don't want Maccabi to know that you're meeting. Okay, okay. But this is not like a serious business behavior. And the EuroLeague TV right agreement with IMG is incredibly cheap, like €100 million, £100 million or €100 million a year, I'm not sure. And in the NBA, they just signed an agreement of 7.6 billion a year. Yeah. So this is like currency, it cannot stay. What it means that American money will flow into Europe. It can either be in the EuroLeague, or that there's going to be a new league that is going to be more heavily sponsored than the EuroLeague. And my job is to make sure that we're in the conversation. Yeah. Like this year we'll try to win the Euro Cup and EuroLeague to consider, but if there's going to be an opening for a new league, we need to be able to move there. What is the biggest asset of Hapoel, you know?
What?
The fans.
The fans.
Yeah, the fan base. The fan base is amazing. It's huge. And what happened to us last night?
I wanted to talk about this because, us as players, we kind of experience this on a very, maybe daily, like gamely, some games we experience this, but as an owner, to have people be spit on, to be to be throwing lighters, like you got to experience that. How was that for you?
I think for the Maccabi fans, it's quite complicated to hate me. It's quite complicated to hate me because I used to be one of them. I was sitting there, right? It's quite complicated to hate me because I'm a lovable and very appreciated guy, and I've done some great things for society that they know about. And it's very difficult for them to hate me because I am the spitting image of the owner that they would like to have in Maccabi. Because I care about the community, I really care about the fans, and I want to improve the experience. And I think that caring about the fans is the most important thing. But the Maccabi management, they behave quite differently, and they know that. So here's this guy, and he's amazing. He's amazing. So when I was there, like not yesterday they were like very heated, but it was fuck you, please buy Maccabi, please buy Maccabi. The same guy, fuck you, please buy Maccabi. But yesterday it was extremely heated.
Will you ever buy Maccabi?
No.
How long is the commitment to Hapoel? What is the commitment to Hapoel?
You know how I call my daughter? Jenny Bass.
Got you.
It's like for life,
that
right?
says it all.
So I think for the day that Hapoel will win a championship, there are going to be two big psychological meltdowns. First meltdown is going to be of Hapoel fans.
Yeah.
This is why it's very important to have this event in a home game, because then you can see everybody cries, right? Yeah. Let's say it would happen yesterday, everybody would cry on up there, but
home court advantage is big.
Yeah. The other meltdown is going to happen is of Maccabi fans, because Maccabi, it's like generations that grew up. It's like a given assumption that Hapoel cannot win the championship. So winning the championship will change that, and change is something that makes people really afraid. And yesterday, what I saw was very afraid, terrified people, terrified organization, Maccabi, terrified the fan base of Maccabi. They were terrified. They were terrified because they know Hapoel is coming. And they understand that the fan base of Hapoel is much bigger than their fan base. So understand that the minute we'll move forward, it can be in the Euro Cup, it can be in the championship here, they are going to lose their first seed position, their first position. I think Maccabi in a few years is going to be like the third team of Israel. I think we're going to be number one, and Hapoel Jerusalem is going to be number two.
That's a
you check with
big
me.
Step. Yeah.
You check with me in a few years.
I will. No, definitely. I want to thank you for taking some of the most valuable thing that you could take, time.
Yeah.
And you don't really get many people, many owners that would take the time to sit down and just talk with me, talk with a player. And I honestly, I appreciate it a lot. It means a lot. Everything that you did throughout the year, a tough year, it means a lot to me. And I know it means a lot to everybody, all the guys, because this was not an easy one. It was a memorable one, but not an easy one. And for your first time, for your first year,
I'm still learning.
Yeah. But I appreciate you. I appreciate you taking the time, and
thank you very much.
Thank you.
I want to say one last thing, one last comment. In the last days, with all that happened, all of the heated situation, I understood what is the similarity between management and players. Because I had to take some decisions yesterday. Do we go in? Do we go and play? We don't go to play. And I took the decision that we go, and after that I said, no, I should have said, no, okay, we don't play. I explained in the dinner, the reasons. But what I think that the fans should remember is that they should understand that if it's a player, management, or a coach, they can make mistakes. No one doesn't make mistakes, right? No one doesn't make mistakes. I made a mistake yesterday, but it's human. It's human to make mistakes. So I really thought of all of the moments, like,
let me tell you,
when you missed, and everybody like,
the fans, they don't like mistakes.
Yeah.
They don't. If you play bad, if you this, that, And as an owner, you have to you have to deal with the fans, but you got to make the decisions, and you have to see through all that. You know, I didn't know you wrote a book.
Yeah, you want a book? You want a copy?
Yeah, for
You
sure.
gonna read it?
Sign. I don't. Is it in Hebrew or English?
It's both. What do you want? Read Hebrew or
English,
English?
of course, of course. What is it about?
It's about renewable energy. It's gonna be interesting.
That sounds like a tough read.
No. It's gonna be,
It's like,
believe me, it's gonna be very interesting for you because I wrote it in a way that everybody can understand
okay.
and everybody can be fascinated. I feel like I had like first row seats for a big drama that changes the world. Right?
Okay. Another question. I almost
question,
forgot.
all right.
I almost forgot. The watches.
Watch
The
out.
watches. What gave you the idea to so, you know, if we were to win, we were gonna get an AP watch similar to this.
Royal Oak, yeah.
Royal Oak.
They're
this one.
waiting. They're
This-
waiting.
You gotta win. You gotta win to get it. But you were gonna give us these watches. This is what, if you wanna go dollars, maybe
$50,000
$50,000
at the store.
watch.
At the store, if you sell it, what's the issue with this watch as well? It's like they don't have batteries, right? It's like very complex Swiss watch,
Yeah.
and beautiful thing, beautiful piece, very expensive, but they also have like a limit number of watches.
Yeah.
So everybody in Twitter wrote for the last season, Rolex, it's not Rolex. Rolex, they generate like 6 million a year, so the value doesn't go up.
Yeah.
But AP, they're only 2.5 million, so the value goes up.
Ah.
And because they're only 2.5 million, let's say you go into an AP store, they will not sell it to you.
Yeah.
They will not sell it to you. So I said, okay, I can buy them something that they cannot buy, even if they have money, because this is also about status and everything.
Yeah.
And it's also something that's going to be very valuable because it's 40,000 at the store. Now it's like 50,000 at the store. At the market, it's over 100. But if it's going to be a championship watch, you can get, I think, $500,000 for it easily.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was the thing, and you know,
Was it helpful, by the way?
I think it was. I think at the end of the day, you're not thinking about watches
Yeah.
on the court. You know what I'm saying? Like you're not. It's something nice to talk about in the locker room
Yeah.
and around. You know, like for the media and stuff like that. But at the end of the day, you ain't doing it for the watches.
Yeah.
At the end, you know, like you got to do it on the court. You're not thinking like, I'm gonna hit this shot, I'm gonna get this watch. Maybe a little bit before the game, but at the end of the day,
I should have brought them in like in the third quarter. Guys,
Oof.
last quarter. Guys, these are the watches.
that is tempting though. But no, that was exciting. That was a good little that was a dream.
You
Hopefully
understand
one day.
You understand I didn't lose money, right? They're still there. They're still waiting, so I didn't lose money. I can sell them.
So now we got yeah, that's true. That's true.
First year of
Just
ownership.
wait till we win it.
Yeah, exactly. And it's gonna come.
Appreciate it.
So thank you very much for having me. It was
appreciate it.
it was great for me.
Appreciate it. All right. Thank you, everybody. Yeah, it was great. Honestly,
All right.
I thought it was great.
Thank you very much.